This isn't a beginner's guide to smoky Scotch. It's a head-to-head of 4 Islay Titans that punch above their weight. We're talking the heavy hitters with higher ABV. This is the Islay Throwdown. Welcome back to Birdman's Bar and Grill. Please like, subscribe and share this content with your family and friends. Let's spread the word, all right, so I can make some more content just like this. Today is the Islay Throwdown, and while the 4 whiskies we're going to be tasting aren't entry level like the Ardbeg 10, Laphroaig 10 or the Lagavulin 8, they're not unicorns either. 3 of the 4 are readily available. The exception being the Octomore, which I'm featuring as well. The first 3 of these are sub $200. So we're going that little bit next level. We're going above the 100, all are above 100, but the Octomore is north of 200. This episode breaks down what each bottle delivers and how they differ to allow you to determine if you're just picking one of these, which one earns a spot on your shelf. At the end, I'll be picking my winner, but all 4 are on my shelf, so apologies for that. But I'll let you know which is the best of the bunch. Bottle intros now. First up, we've got the Ardbeg Corryvreckan. The Ardbeg Corryvreckan, high ABV, non-chill filtration. It is bourbon cask married with French oak. It's at 57.1% ABV and rumoured to be between 8 to 10 years of age. There's no defined age statement on this bottle, but you can consider this one at cask strength. A little bit more on the Corryvreckan. It isn't here to be subtle, it's here to dominate. If you want intensity, this is where it starts. It's described as peppery and turbulent. Next up is the Laphroaig Lore. The Lore is at 48% ABV or 96 proof, and it's a blend of different whiskies varying in age from 7 to 21 years. It's also married in a number of different casks, multiple sherry casks, bourbon cask as well. So it has layered complexity, which really does shine through when you taste this whiskey. A little bit more on the Laphroaig Lore. Absolute complexity, multiple cask types, layered age, and that unmistakable iodine-rich campfire smoke. Lore is built to show its depth without losing any punch. Next up, we've got the OG of smoky Islay whiskies, the Lagavulin 16. The Lagavulin, as it suggests, is aged for 16 years. It comes in at 43% ABV or 86 proof, so it's not as high ABV as the first 2, but the additional age is where this particular whiskey shines out. A bit more on the Lagavulin 16. It is the original benchmark or the OG of Islay whiskies. If you've tasted Islay, you've probably tasted this. Sherry and bourbon casks combined, 16 years of balance and peat that doesn't overpower. It's earned its reputation as the most famous Islay Scotch. Last but not least is the Octomore 10.2. Octomore 10.2 is an 8-year-old whiskey which has spent half its time in bourbon cask and the other half in a Sauternes wine cask. So that's a sweet white wine. It comes in at 56.9% ABV, so almost as heavy as the Corryvreckan. The Octomore 10.2 is Bruichladdich precision peat machine. Being 8 years old, half of it in Sauternes cask and bottled at nearly 57%, the Octomore 10.2 isn't just strong, it's structured. Let's get into the tasting. I know this is what you're here for. You want to see me pick a winner of these 4 titans of whiskey. First up, the Ardbeg Corryvreckan. All right, so straight up, it might sound a little bit weird, but I'm getting tar, like a freshly laid road. That's the first impression I get from this whiskey. There's a bit of fruit there as well, and maybe some coffee, espresso. But it's a punch in the face, this one. It's very intense. Yep, very intense flavours. There's the smoke there, but it's well balanced. It's not like your entry-level Islas where they're all smoke and not a lot of balance. These ones, I can confidently say they're beautifully balanced. That's why they're heavyweights. Long, smoky, spicy finish, peppery. There's that smoke, but it's not accurate. It's not iodine. It's really well balanced. There's some sharpness to it, sure. It's at 57% ABV, effectively cask strength. A heavy hitter for sure. Next up, the Laphroaig Lore. All right, so straight away, there's that brininess that are typical with Islas. There's a little bit of iodine in there as well. So it's that medicinal sort of influence. You're getting fruit, you're getting sweet malt. Really a well-balanced whiskey, this. Definitely a higher standard compared to the 10. This is one that you'd sit and savour for a while. It's quite well balanced, but it's rich at the same time. Not terribly oily, but definitely one that you can sit on for a while. Next up is the Lagavulin 16. As you know, this one is the OG of Islay whiskies. It's been around for a long time now. It has the prestige. For anybody that's into whiskey, you'll know the name. If you haven't heard of the Lagavulin 16, then you're either new into whiskey or you haven't been paying attention. A little bit of brine, a little bit of dried fruit maybe, a little bit of smoke on the nose, but not overpowering. Yeah, it's silky smooth. It really has been rounded off. The 16 years in the barrel has definitely done its part. All those sharp edges that you get with the Corryvreckan are gone with this one. Age just means a whiskey is more rare. It doesn't mean it's better. The Does have a nice long finish. Maybe picking up a little bit of fig in there in terms of the fruit influence, but it's very, very smooth. Very, if you wanted to sip on something and you didn't want, you know, that heat, this is definitely the one. Last but not least, it's the 10.2 from Octomore. At 56.9% ABV from Bruichladdich, the Octomore 10.2 is the most expensive whiskey of this lot, but I thought it was a good comparison. The Octomore has a lot of different variations, starting in the low single digits, going through to the mid to high teens. And this is the 10.2. They have a 10.1, they have a 10.2, they have a 10.3, they might even have a 10.4. Let's try this one. So this is 4 years in bourbon cask and 4 years in Sauternes, which is a white wine cask. Tropical fruit, white wine, you know, that real dessert style sort of white wine. It's still, don't get me wrong, it's still got the smoke, it's still got some heat, but it's incredibly well balanced. It doesn't punch you in the face, even though it's almost the same ABV as the Corryvreckan. It doesn't punch you in the face like that one does. It has the edges rounded off just that little bit. It's got a clean, smoky finish. Not necessarily the longest, but beautifully balanced, this whiskey. So now's the time where I have to pick a winner. So before I do that, I probably need to strike one, if not a couple off, and then do a side-by-side to finish up with. So unfortunately, although it's the most prestigious and most well-known of this pack, the Lagavulin 16 for me is not where my particular taste is. I like big, bold whiskies. I still like flavour and balance, but this one at 16 years in the barrel, it's been smooth, rounded out, and maybe the lower ABV is contributing, but this one for me doesn't cut the mustard compared to the other three. Next, for me, it gets a little bit harder. A decision between all three of these. I love all of them. That's why they're on my bar. But for me, it's probably good night to the Laphroaig. Final tasting. The Corryvreckan, the 10.2. I've got my whiskey pipette and a glass of water here. What I intend to do, I'll start with the Corryvreckan. I've tasted that first, then I'll go to the Octomore. I'll add some water to each one of these. So I'll taste, then I'll add a drop of water, then I'll taste again, and then I'll go to the Octomore. So let's go with the Corryvreckan first. All right, so straight away back to the tar. I'm getting road. It's a weird description, but it's tar, it's pepper, it's fruit. There's not that much smoke on the nose, but it's incredibly intriguing. Peppery, espresso. There's no tar on the palate, but you get pepper, you get espresso, you get fruit. All right, so let's give it a couple of drops. There we go. Give it a swirl to open that up. Not too much difference on the nose, although the alcohol burn just went straight up. So I'm not sure whether that's the water just releasing the vapors and reacting with that. But I had to back off there for a second. Didn't have that before. So yeah, that's rounded out now. All right, so still the same sorts of aromas, the tar, the smoke. That's just smoothed it off just that little bit. So I don't get those super sharp edges, it just sort of takes those edges off and makes it that little bit more approachable. 2 drops of water in that much whiskey at 57%. I'm not sure it drops the ABV much, so I don't think that's what's doing it. I think it's just the interaction with the oils in the whiskey blending through, but that's beautiful. Just going to clean the palate, make it a fair fight. All right, the Octomore. Yep, sweet smoke, honey. Once again, I think it's that Sauternes cask, that dessert wine cask. More rounded than the Corryvreckan, less sharp edges. It has a little bit more going on in terms of the flavour, the different flavour profiles, but less intense. So it's a very, very well-structured whiskey. But it's not that punch in the face like the Corryvreckan. It's more like a punch in the guts, if you like that terminology. So let's give it a couple of drops of water and see how it reacts. That was 2 there. All right. Let's open it up. Sweet smoke, same as before. Citrus fruit. Tropical fruit. There's smoke there, but there's so much going on in that. There's the bite from the alcohol, there's the citrus fruit, there's the tropical fruit, there's the smoke, all blended together. Very, very well-rounded. Very, very nice. It's going to be difficult to pick a winner here. Honestly, in terms of, this is more intense, this is more balanced. This has maybe a little bit more structure, but this has some of the flavours that I'm really, really searching for, like that pepperiness in there and the oiliness, more oily than the Octomore. It's almost a dead heat, but I have to pick one. So the deciding factor for me is going to be the price. So at probably 100, if not maybe a little bit more less than the Octomore, I think for the viewers, for one that's affordable for your shelf, I think I'd recommend the Corryvreckan over the 10.2. Don't get me wrong, this is an exceptional whiskey. But in terms of value for money, they're a dead heat in terms of whiskey versus whiskey, but in terms of the price, you can't ignore that. So I think this one is the winner for me. 4 bottles, 4 different beasts, from the structured chaos of the Octomore to the smoky finesse of the Lagavulin 16. This wasn't just a tasting, okay? This was a precision-engineered clash of age, smoke, barrel influence, and structural intent. If you're chasing bold, unapologetic whiskey, then the Islay delivers in spades every time. Now, the question, which one has earned a spot on your shelf? Drop your Islay pick in the comments. Which bottle wins your throwdown? I want to know. Got a sleeper I missed? Well, please let me know. Call it out and I'll see if I can track it down, and we might do that in a future video. As always, here at BBG, we're here to elevate your whiskey game. So until next time, cheers.